Like Bernie, you've done your graphic recordings in countries all over the world as well. How do you see your art transferring across different cultures? Do you ever see any cultural differences in the way people perceive your art?
Well, so far it has been quite interesting. So far I worked between Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, and only recently Dubai and Thailand. So, well, how it transfers is that you also have to be aware of the analogies that you use to describe things. So I have another friend in Singapore. She's British, and she also works as a graphic recorder. And she mentions that because of sometimes she has to get with the Singaporean way of thinking. So if they mention something like, oh, the speaker mentions our ancestors or something, and she would think, oh, I have to draw like a Victorian looking with a nice Victorian dress and everything like that, and a very like stately looking man. And I'm like, not. And she's like, oh, she realized that eventually you actually have to draw the ancestors in terms of the Malaysian culture would be for Chinese would be like Chinese men on a boat coming from China. It's not at all like Victorian at all. That's like colonial. So it's a different way of looking at analogies as well when we draw. And so I do try to make my work a bit more funny because that's my personality. So I'm funny in drawing and not so much in speech like Kavin. And also that helped a lot for me to kind of define my own style. And because illustration kind of translates between different cultures, so you don't really have to speak just English, or even people from different countries or different languages are able to identify with a drawing. And that's kind of like the magic of illustration and depiction.
Right. Any other questions? Right there. Hi.
I have a question to ask Bernie.
Okay, hi.
Regarding my daughter, I have an 8-year daughter. She's here, sitting at the back.
Hello.
She loves to draw or to doodle. Even now, just now, while you're talking, she's sitting at the back with the big sister, keep on drawing. Whenever I go and attend a talk or seminar, she will come along, and during the talk, she will just draw. Now, my question is, she loves to draw. Even the class teacher also say that she loves to draw. Even during exam time, she quickly finish the exam paper and she start to draw. And she gets a scolding from me for being not checking her test paper. But she did very well in her test. And she loved to color as well. She have won a lot of competition in the coloring contest. And I, as a mother, I'm not very good in art. But I'm very hardworking to take up a coloring contest because she always win some prizes. Okay. Now, yeah, just like yesterday, we went to Smart Kid coloring contest prize presentation. She won a trip to Universal Studio.
Congratulations.
Okay, now my question is, because I mentioned that I'm not good at art, and I don't know what to do with her when regards to her interest in art. If you were her mother, what will you do?
Good question.
Well, I think so far, if she's the one she wants to go for this, these competitions to pursue it further, that's really good as well. And she's doing well in her exam, and she's drawing after. She's drawing right now as I'm talking, so wow. Okay, so yes, I think it sounds really interesting. If she's the one that's pushing it, then that's good. But if you're the one that's pushing her, then maybe you kind of have to kind of see where she's comfortable with. Because my mom wanted, like I shared, my mom wanted me to do classes. I actually attended just to kind of observe. She said, just attend, see whether you like it or not. And I saw them drawing like dogs, saw them drawing all these watercolor things. And at that time, I didn't feel that I wanted to. I didn't want to go for tuition at that time. And I'm happy that I didn't. Maybe I missed out. Maybe I could have been a way better illustrator now. But for what I do, I'm glad I took my own time to kind of pursue it. So if she's the one that's really interested to do the competition, if she's not being forced to do it, then I think you should develop it. Because who knows, she might be a really great painter, illustrator, graphic recorder, who knows? But I think now if she's the one that's, she's the one that, Mom, I want to do this, you should encourage her. And even if you don't really know what to do with her, my mom was like, she keeps on saying that we don't know where she got her creativity from. It's not from us because we're not creative. She said, my mom said if you force her to draw a duck, she still couldn't do it. But I think so far what you're telling me, I think she's doing really well. And if she's the one that's really pushing for it, she wants to do it on her own time. She's not being forced to do tuition. No one is telling her that what she's doing is wrong. I think that's good. I think if she wants to improve. So, yes. Oh, sorry, are you? Same question? Oh, sorry. Yes, so that's my opinion. If I was her mother, I would say, I think I'll guide her to kind of pursue it, but not force her, especially creativity. When it's forced, it's just, it becomes tuition, it becomes people shut down, I just do it just to do it. It becomes mechanical. Like you don't ask me to draw a tree, I'll draw this, okay, I'm done, get an A, and walk away. And that's very Asian culture. Just mechanically, just do it, and then I'll do whatever my hobby is in my free time. So I think if she's the one that's like, yes, Mom, I want to do this, Mom, 我要做, then you 加油, you add oil for her, go ahead. Yes.
Should I send her for those my art studio or global art class?
I think maybe it's good to let her sit in and see whether I think it depends on the teacher and the way they teach as well. Because, of course, sometimes some teachers may be perfection. We want everyone to be like the same. They produce good quality work. But that's not really the way creativity is. No one is the same. You can't really kind of judge everyone on the same batch. She has a different way of doing it. My work, if you put it in an art studio, you put it like a fine art studio, people will be just like, I can draw better than that. That's not valuable at all. But because I do it instantly, I do it fast, I can create value. That's where I saw the market for it, and that's how I created it. I can imagine myself being, even in Mandarin school, they have those art competitions, and I never win because my work makes no sense to teachers. I remember I drew like under the sea drawing. The thing was under the sea. Every other student that went for art class had a pre-drawn drawing that teacher planned for them already. So they just colored in. For myself, I drew like I drew like a cross-section of the ocean, a submarine, and then I did like a sun and an island at the top. The teacher was like, this is underwater, you're wrong. This is not right. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm not in it to win it. I'm just doing it because I like doing it. And so the other children that were doing it were more mechanical, where they do it and then they show the art teacher. Art teacher was like, yes, you did well, you won. But for myself, I wasn't in it to win it. I was just like, I like doing it. I think differently. My work was different from anyone else's. And right now, if you look back, people will be like, oh, this kid is weird. She won't really do anything with it. Right now, like, I'm awesome and I know it. And that's cool.
Good.
Yeah, so creativity is hard to kind of measure. It's not like accountancy. It's not really like anything else. It's very... yeah, it's not, you can't really measure it. So I won't encourage anyone to really be, don't judge yourself based on the A, B, or C. So creativity is how you market it, how you sell it, and what makes you happy. So yeah.
Okay. Maybe same question to Kavin. If you were her mother, like in general, I'm thinking there are a lot of parents here. I mean, for parents who want to help encourage their children to be more creative, what would you do? What would you recommend?
I mean, honestly, I'm a parent now as well. I've got a daughter, 1.5 years old, still doesn't pay rent. But no, but you see, the thing is, I'm as baffled as you. I don't know. I mean, I really wanted to be creative, but I don't want to, force the creativity, but I just want it to come naturally. But then I also want to give her a guitar, play the guitar. I also want to give her a pen, hey, draw something. But I don't want to do that. But I know for a fact that one thing, like, creativity can't be taught. It can't be forced. Because a lot of times, they look at it and they force creativity out of people. A lot of times when you go for classes, like, okay, one thing I know for a fact that I went for a comedy class once. That's it. And I realized that it was useless. Because what they said was, you have to write like this, and this is how your joke's supposed to look like, and this is how you are supposed to tell a joke. And I realized that every one of them were telling jokes the same way, that everybody sounded the same. And I thought to myself, hold on, I don't want to sound like them because I'm not them. I want to sound like me. I want to tell my life stories. I want to tell how I want to tell. I don't want just jokes. I want stories. I want things to come out from me. And I realized that I just let it happen naturally, and it will come out naturally. You force you force yourself to do something, it probably not be as as gratifying as something that just came out. You know, just like, you know, one day you were just sitting down and you thought to yourself, hold on, I want to do this. And you do it and you realize, wow, it's so gratifying. Then, you know, your boss come and tell you, you do this now. And you go and do it, but it's a good job, but then it's not gratifying because someone actually forced you to do it and you did it, you know? And I think creativity has to be nurtured. It has to come naturally. I'm daunting the day my daughter picks up something. I really don't know. I mean, she picks up the guitar. I'm like, I really want you to play. And then she gives up 2 weeks later. I'm like, never mind, next time. You know, I'm really daunted. I really don't know. I honestly, it's the hardest thing in the world as a parent to see your child doing something and you want to push, but you don't want to push too hard, but you don't want to push too lightly because then they will lose interest. So you're like, what do I do? It's very difficult. I can tell you that as a parent, it's going to be really difficult. And I think the best thing to do is just let them learn it on their own. Let it comes out on their own. Don't stifle, but don't, you know, just let them go. But yeah, hands off. Don't do that. Tell them what they're doing is right. Tell them what they're doing is nice. Give them compliments. Give them, you know, it's nice to hear from your parent, like, wow, this is really nice drawing. Although it looks like that. But you know,
if I was your mom, I'll tell you, yes, that's really good.
this is a really good drawing. Or, you know, you like you know, ask them, tell them, get involved. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this do? Why are you drawing this? Why are you doing this? Why, you know, engage your kids, I guess, you know, is the way. But don't stifle. Don't say don't do it, or don't say go to art class and learn how to do it properly. No, it's not like that. There's no right or wrong to creative and art.
Okay, can we just get any kids want to ask any questions?
He's a kid.
Okay. You guys look about the same age, so I'm going to go with him first, all right? We'll come back to you after this.
Okay.
All right.
Both dressed the same as well.
Yeah, wow. So
Hello, morning. Thanks
Hi.
for the talk, Bernie and Kevin. These following questions is go to both of you. Yeah, talking about killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Sorry, Kevin, you're not a bird. Right. Who actually inspires you, or what actually inspires you in your career? And the second question will be, when you hit the wall, how do you overcome it and be a better person than you are right now? Okay, thank you.
Okay, sure, I'll take it. Well, the first one, who inspires me? Well, definitely in my career, this is still a very new thing. There are other designers in UK and Europe that were doing it as well. And I was lucky that during my time spent in the US, I actually met with some of these companies. I just wrote into them, say, can I come over to the office, say hi, see your work. I followed your work online. And they were like, yeah, sure, come over. And from there, I kind of told them that, you know, for me, this is still a hobby. I don't charge for my work. I still see it as kind of like, you know, I see you guys doing professional, but I'm not good enough. I don't think really that level yet. But they told me that I think your work is really good. You just need time to develop. And they shared to me how they started their business, how they kind of did their ratings, how it all worked out, and what the clients to pursue. So from there, I kind of had that kind of good mentorship from them. So it's still, what in my community, graphic recording globally is still a very young thing. There are only maybe like less than 100 professionals. So it's still a very, it's not dog eat dog. It's very much, we're still friendly, we still communicate, we still help each other to improve. So I'm lucky to be part of that. And in my lifetime as a kid, and even during my school, like college days, when I was still doing interior design, did internships. And during those internships, one of my bosses, one of my first internships when I was like 19, he told me, after my internship, he told me that I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna be very successful. And I was like, at 19, you're like, cool. It's like, yeah, whatever that means. In my back of my mind, I was like, I knew I probably wouldn't pursue interior design as a career, but I was like, sure. And he was like, if you don't become successful, you probably did something wrong along the way. And then fast forward to sometime in Singapore 2 years ago, and I was still working around Chinese New Year. One of the ladies I just met, after showing her like my doodles and some of my like hobby drawing stuff, she was in her late 20s. She was like, I think you can't see it now because you're very young. I was like 21. She was like, but you're going to be very successful. And you just keep on doing what you're doing. And I was like, cool, this is my notes Okay, thank you. So I think I was lucky when I was younger to actually have people that believe in me before I believed in myself. Because to me, I kind of been influenced by other people, whereas like design can't really take you anywhere. You kind of have to find a stable job, interior design, build a house, do something interesting like that. Very structural stuff, and then this kind of stuff is just doodling. Who would see value in that? So I was lucky to have people that tell me that this is really valuable. You have to pursue it, figure out how to turn it into a business, figure out how you're going to create value, how to market it. And I was lucky that I had people to look up to, a dream to chase, people that believed in me before I believed in myself. And that's really important. They didn't say anything like the angels didn't start singing, nothing, the sky didn't open, nothing big happened. They just kind of kept in my mind. And that kind of helped me as I went along over these past few years to believe in myself and keep on going. And then when I hit a wall, for myself, when I hit a wall, not so much because I work off other people's content. Like I work off Kavin's content. I didn't come up with stuff like that on my own. I work off other people. So very much what I do it doesn't all happen just in my brain. I do it based on other people's topics, what other people say. So it's very much a partnership. If the speaker screws up, I screw up as well. The board will be half blank. I'll be like, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. But so definitely for myself, hitting a wall, it's not common. If I get a blank, I'll just come back to it later. But definitely it depends on the speaker and the way they present, and it helps me do better as well. And I like that. I like thinking on the spot and being challenged. I can't prepare. I have to think very quickly, which involves some level of intelligence. But the ideas aren't mine. They belong to the speakers. I just visualize them. Yeah.
All right, what inspires me? My story is exact opposite of Bernie. The people who inspire me are the people who told me that you are stupid, you cannot do anything. Because, I mean, when I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, it was an active part of, a movement where people thought, what the hell is he doing? Does he realize what he's doing? And that was a time when a lot of people came up to me and said, you cannot get very far. In Malaysia, you can't go very far. Look how many stand-up comedians are there. There's two, Jit Murad at that time, who retired, and Harith Iskandar. That's it. That's all you have. And where you gonna go? You gonna open for Russell Peters, is it? And no, but the thing is, at that time, everybody told me like I couldn't do it and I couldn't do it. And I am the type of guy who's when somebody tells me that I cannot do it, I will do it. I will do exactly what you tell me not to do, because that's who I am. I want to do what you tell me I cannot do. And there's a lot of times when I do jokes to corporate events and stuff like that, they will tell me don't do racial material, don't do politics. And I go up on stage and I do exactly that. And people laugh. So, they can't get offended if they're laughing. So, it all becomes, subjective. Like for me, I take the negatives and I see the positives in it. If people tell me I cannot do it, I will make sure that I do it. Like a lot of people told me I have very short and stubby fingers and I cannot learn how to play the guitar. I learned how to play the guitar in 2 weeks, and I showed them that I can play the guitar. I only know one song, and that got me through college life, so it's fine. But it's the kind of person I am. That's how I am. You tell me I can't do it, I'll prove to you that I can do it. Unless it's totally absurd lah. Like you tell me I can't drive a car through a wall, maybe I might not try that because I can't. But when I hit a wall, that's actually a very good question. When I hit a wall, the walls that I hit are very different kind of walls. As a child, I was dyslexic. It was very difficult for me to read and write. That was a wall I hit. What happened was I met a teacher who at that time in a sekolah menengah was very rare, that she cared. And she taught me how to read using cue cards, right? Remembering the image rather than the individual alphabets. And that's what happens to me now. I can read because of that. And later on in life, when my brother passed away, it was a wall as well. Like, for me, I lost someone I really loved, and how do I move on with it? I use comedy as my grieving process. Now I can make jokes about my brother, and I know my brother will be looking down and thinking, hold on, Why are you making jokes about me? But I know he'll be proud. And, you know, and eventually when I started doing comedy and then depression hit. And a lot of people don't realize this, but comedians are the most likely person to get depression because you're giving out so much positive energy, you're taking none for yourself. And after you give out so much positive energy, if you don't control it, if you don't, control it in your head, you will get depressed. And you've heard of Robin Williams getting depressed. You heard of Russell Peters getting depressed. You've heard of people going to rehab and stuff like that. Why? Jim Carrey. So many people, why they do that? Because, look, they give out so much that sometimes they need external substances to help them, which I don't agree upon. I don't take. But you have to learn how to control it. And that when I met someone again, and that guy just taught me, like, all the positive energy that you give, it doesn't have to be returned to you. You can create your own positive energy, and you look at your life a different way. The fact that I don't mind, I can, like what this guy taught me was basically, to look life, every negative value has a positive value. It has to happen. There's no such thing as negative values only. There's always a positive value. But learn to look at that instead of the negative side of things. And when I do that, I realize that, hold on, it's not actually that bad. I can go through this. And I got through depression, and it was hard because at that time I lost my job. I just got married. So I used all my savings in my marriage, and then I lost my job, so I got nothing left. And I thought, hey, I'm doing comedy, maybe that can support me. It didn't. I was broke. I didn't have money. I couldn't pay for my car. I couldn't pay for my house. I had to go to the banks, beg them to, just extend the payment period. But you know what? It all worked out because I saw the positive side of things, and and that showed through my comedy, and people saw me, and people wanted to hire me, and people like Daniel, called me out for TEDx, and I thought, hey, why not? And it's awesome, because I get to do what I do. I get to do what I love doing, So yeah.
One question over there.
Yeah.